base not to endure them. Hence also it appears to be the part of a more brave man to be fearless and without perturbation in sudden terrors, rather than in such as were foreseen. For this rather proceeds from habit, and in a less degree from preparation. For things, indeed, which were foreseen, may be chosen from deliberation and reason. But in things which suddenly happen, a man can only conduct himself fearlessly from the habit of fortitude. Those persons, likewise, appear to be brave who are ignorant of danger, and they are not very remote from those who are full of good hope. They are, however, inferior to them, because they have no preconceived opinion of vanquishing the evil, but the former have. Hence, the fortitude of those who are full of good hope continues for a certain time. But the fortitude of those who are ignorant of danger ceases as soon as the deception is apparent, as was the case with the Argives, when they met with the Lacedaemonians, and thought them to be Sicyonians. And thus we have shown what kind of men the brave are, and those who appear to be brave. CHAPTER IX. Since, however, fortitude is conversant with confidence and fear, yet it is not similarly conversant with both, but in a greater degree with things of a terrible nature. For he who is without perturbation in these, and who conducts himself in them as he ought, is more brave than he who does so in things pertaining to confidence. Brave men, therefore, as we have before observed, are called brave, from enduring things of a painful nature. Hence also fortitude is unaccompanied with pain, and is justly praised. For it is more difficult to endure pain than to abstain from pleasure. Nevertheless, the end, according to fortitude, may appear to be pleasant, but to be obscured and obliterated by surrounding circumstances, just as it happens in gymnastic contests. For to pugilists, indeed, the end for the sake of which they contend is pleasing, viz. A crown and honours. But to be beat, since this pertains to the flesh, is painful, as is likewise every labour. Because, however the circumstances which produce pain are many, and that for the sake of which they contend is small, it appears to possess nothing delectable. If, therefore, a thing of this kind also pertains to fortitude, death, indeed, and wounds will be painful to a brave man, and to one who is unwilling to endure them. The brave man, however, endures them because it is beautiful so to do, or because it is base not to endure them. And by how much the more he possesses every virtue, and is more happy, by so much the more will he be pained by death. For such a man most eminently deserves to live, and he is knowingly deprived by death of the greatest goods. But this is painful. He is, however, no less brave, and perhaps he is more brave, because he chooses that conduct in battle which is beautiful, in preference to these goods. To energize, therefore, delectably, does not pertain to all the virtues, except so far as they come into contact with the end. But perhaps nothing prevents not only those from being most excellent soldiers, who are most brave, but also those who are less brave, and possess no other good. For these are prepared for danger, and to lose their life for a small gain. And thus much concerning fortitude, and it is not difficult from what has been said to adumbrate what it is. CHAPTER X. In the next place, let us speak concerning temperance. For these, i.e. fortitude and temperance, appear to be the virtues of the irrational parts. The temperance, therefore, is a medium, conversant with pleasures, has been already observed by us. For it is conversant in a less degree, and not similarly with pains, but about pleasures and pains intemperance also is employed. What the pleasures, therefore, are, with which temperance is conversant, we must now explain. Let pleasures, however, be divided into those pertaining to the soul, and those pertaining to the body. Thus, for instance, the pleasures pertaining to the soul are ambition and the love of learning. For each of these is delighted with that which is the object of its desire. The body not being at all affected, but rather the rational part. And those who are conversant with such like pleasures are neither denominated temperate, nor intemperate. Thus too, with respect to such other pleasures as are not corporeal. For we call those who are lovers of fables and narrations, and who consume the day in such casual circumstances as present themselves, triflers, but not intemperate. Nor do we call those intemperate who are pained by the loss of riches or friends. Temperance, however, will be conversant with corporeal pleasures, yet neither will it be conversant with all such pleasures. For those persons are not called either temperate or intemperate, who are delighted with objects of sight, such as colours, and figures, and pictures, though it would seem that there is also a proper manner of being delighted with these, and that it is possible to be pleased with them according to excess and defect. Thus too in things pertaining to the hearing, for no one calls those intemperate who are excessively delighted with melodies, or players, nor those temperate who are delighted with them in a proper manner. Nor are those denominated temperate, or intemperate, who are delighted with odours, except from accident. For we do not call those persons intemperate, who are delighted with the smell of apples, or roses, or odoriferous fumigations. But we rather denominate those persons so, who are delighted with the smell of ointments and food. For intemperate persons are pleased with these, because through these the recollection of the objects of their desires is produced. Others also may be seen, who when they are hungry are delighted with the smell of food. But to be delighted with things of this kind is the province of an intemperate man. For to such a one these things are objects of desire. Nor do other animals receive pleasure from these senses, except by accidents. For neither are dogs delighted with the smell, but with the eating of hares. The smell producing the sense, i.e. causing them to perceive food present. Nor is the lion delighted with the voice of the ox, but with eating him. But he perceives through the voice of the ox that he is near, and is seen to be delighted with this perception. In like manner, neither is the lion delighted with seeing or finding a stag, or a wild goat, but he is pleased on seeing that from which he shall obtain food. Temperance and intemperance, therefore, are conversant with pleasures of this kind, of which also irrational animals partake. Hence, these pleasures appear to be servile and savage, and they are the pleasures pertaining to the touch and the taste. Temperance and intemperance, however, appear to use the taste, but in a small degree, or not at all. For the judgment of sapiers is the province of the taste, which those persons employ who make trial of wines and season food. The intemperate, however, are not very much delighted with these sapiers, but with the enjoyment of the food, the whole of which is effected through the touch, in meats and drinks, and in what are called venereal concerns. Hence, a certain person named Philoxenus, the son of Eryx, who was most voracious in eating, wished that he had a neck longer than that of a crane, as being one who was delighted with the touch. The touch, therefore, with which intemperance is conversant is the most common of all the senses, and will appear to be justly disgraceful, because it exists in us not so far as we are men, but so far as we are animals. To be delighted, therefore, with, and especially enamoured of such pleasures is beastly. For the most liberal of the pleasures which are perceived through the touch are not to be numerated with these. Such, for instance, as the pleasures in gymnastic exercises, produced through friction and heat, since the touch of the intemperate man does not pertain to the whole body, but to certain parts of it. CHAPTER 11. Of desires, however, some appear to be common, but others peculiar and advantageous. Thus, for instance, the desire of food is indeed natural, for every one, when in want, desires either dry or moist nutriment, and sometimes both. And, as Homer says, both the young man, and he who is in the vigour of his age, desire the joys of love. But every one does not desire this or that food, nor the same food. Hence, this desire appears to be properly ours, and it possesses also something natural, for different things are pleasing to different persons, and the same thing is more agreeable to some persons than to others. Few, therefore, err in natural desires, and they err in these in one way, viz. In excess. For to eat or drink, what casually presents itself, till an excessive fullness is produced, is to surpass, in multitude, what is conformable to nature, since natural desire is the replenishing of indigence. Hence, such persons are called gluttons, as replenishing the indigence of nature